Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 363. Let's see who shows up here. So, interesting. We have recently touched on the Zillion, and so I'd kind of like to let that go, but then again, we just have the token attacks and the Teemo as the kind of other choices here. I think I'm kind of okay with picking up this token attacks Irelia and seeing if things are passable since the nerf to her flip. In general, kind of the way I've always felt about these token attack decks, anyways, was at least as far as the Irelia side goes, as this is just a Greenglade Duo deck, and that's how I kind of feel about all of the Irelia card pools. It's either over here with the token attacks into Sharama, we're just playing the Greenglade Duo. If you do manage to piece together, say like a Misfortune, that you can focus more on Misfortune and not so much around the Irelia flip, but we'll see how that plays out with the second pack. But let's take a moment. We'll go ahead and get this pulled up on the site. If you're not familiar with it, it's ftpbus.com. I did want to call out that the tier list is now up to date, whether or not you prefer the text version here on the main page that you can Control F and if you spell Irelia right, you can come down and find her within Tier 3. The image version is also up here as well. It's in this little bold section to where you can find it. And I have put the video guide out there where I talk about and explain the changes into each of the carpools and the changes into the tier list. But today we'll be over here. I think I've put this token attacks into the expedition helper. I've been going through and trying to update it. That 211 patch was actually just pretty massive, and so I don't actually have it updated on the site. So let me pull it up on the spreadsheet. Okay, so hopefully you can see it here on the screen. I try to have it highlighted. I can't change the colors on this spreadsheet, and so kind of is what it is. But yeah, as far as this goes with Irelia, the big thing we always see with her is whether or not you can take advantage of Sparring Student and Greenglade Duo. Those are the two big ones as far as she's concerned. And realistically anymore, I would prefer to just see her become an elusives deck. And so if I'm thinking just like strictly in terms of elusives, then I would prefer to have Zed. But after Zed, then the next one would be Irelia. And so she can be pretty reasonable. We'll see if we look to go all in on the token attacks theme. If we do that, then I place a super high value on both Sparring Student and Greenglade Duo. There's no card in the game I would take over Greenglade Duo in this situation, and then there's also not a card bad enough for me to not want to take Greenglade Duo. And so it absolutely just go super out of our way to take any of these. If we're going towards tokens, the same thing applies to Sparring Student. But if we're going towards elusives, then things change up a little bit. The same still applies to Greenglade Duo, but our value for Sparring Student drops quite a bit. We're just looking for more things along the lines of Navori Blade Scout, the Navori Conspirator, and things like Shadow Assassin. And so let's see how this shakes up. There's otherwise not too much going on here. This token attacks pool, of course, has basically all of the Blade Dance cards in it, and then it has a handful of all of the bounce kind of cards. So we'll see what makes an appearance here. I do like Syncopation though. It's a pretty powerful spell. Kind of interested to see it show up here. And okay, so for pack 2 here, we have a handful of options. We have of the immediately ignorable Swain. There's just no combination that makes me want to play Swain and Irelia. These two card pools just do not work well together, so we can skip over that. So that leaves us over here with Enlightenment Karma, which is arguably the worst card pool in the game. I haven't actually looked at it, I think, since the release of the 211 patch, so it might have changed up a little bit, but I'm pretty sure it didn't. But kind of the thing with Karma is the Total Recall card pool has Greenglade Duo in it, and so we may be able to find some reasonable usage out of Karma if we're looking to build towards a elusives deck. And then over here with Rek'Sai, actually more interesting than I think it appears at first glance, and that we have cards like Retreat that we can use for cards like Zersai Collar to generate some kind of additional predicts. And so you're not going to get like super huge value out of this because the The return does a summon as to where the predict here is a play, so you won't be able to just drop him onto the board and get these predicts going, but I think this is still a reasonable kind of thing if we're playing predict cards and some bounce cards, might be able to pull off something in that vein. And then the other thing we could look to do with Retreat is Rek'Sai has this thing to where she just goes on top of your deck at the end of the turn. And so if we're able to play something like Retreat, Return, Rek'Sai, put another dude on the board, then we would have her available for the next turn or 2 turns away whenever we want to play her. Kind of the same thing applies with cards like Homecoming and then the various other return cards to your hand spells. And so I could definitely see something working here with Rek'Sai, but I believe I want to build more towards Irelia here today, and so I'm going to come in and take this Karma. Let me take a quick peek at this Karma card pool. See, here's the total recall one actually over here on the left of your screen with some of the cards we're looking for. It's got Blade Scout, Conspirator in the common slot. It's got Greenglade Duo in the rare slot, and also Usari in the rares. And so it's not a super exciting card pool looking to dig up these total recall kind of cards, but it is a thing that we could look to pull off. But where's the other Karma at? Okay, so she's over here on the right side of your screen. Here is the Enlightenment card pool. Looks like there were little to no changes to it. This is, of course, a complete garbage card pool. There's not really anything we want out of this. Just the idea behind taking Karma is that we can stay 100% Ionia, so we can hopefully maximize our chances of finding Greenglade Duos, and then also that total recall card pool has a handful of the cards that we'll be looking for. But as far as this Karma goes that we are initially taking, at least having Will of Ionia Deep Meditation is a pretty reasonable start. She does have the Empyrean down here in the Epic slot, and so can't really count on that too much, but may be able to help us pull off this elusive theme. Okay, and then absolutely the big worry about taking the Enlightenment cards is these are probably going to continue to show up for a little bit. I don't have a real way to just force Total Recall to show up, but at least over here we do have a Zinnia along with Lead and Follow. I'm typically not a huge fan of Zinnia in that the game is usually just done by the time you play her. And so, you have to play an 8-cost card. It is nice to have these big elusives in the end game, but you play this, and then it gets, kind of challenging to play additional Blade Dances. She does get to attack twice on that final turn, once with the Blade Dance of her play, and then with your regular attack, but can be kind of tough to pull off the multiple attacks with her. But the Token Attacks card pool is exactly what we're looking to pick up here. That's a pretty powerful card that we'll be looking to have. Okay. As you know, I'm always a big fan of Young Witch. This also plays pretty fantastically with all of the 1-cost units. And so what we tend to see with Young Witch is, say we play like a Navori Blade Scout on the first turn, or we play an Inspired Mentor on the first turn. There's not too many opportunities to get good attacks with that in the future. But if you're out here turning that Navori Blade Scout into a 3/1 quick attack, then it gives you a pretty reasonable attacker for the future turns. Okay, beautiful. Here we have a Greenglade Duo, which you would take with anything, but paired up with Field Musicians is fine. This is a pretty reasonable card in these token-style decks. Gives us a little bit of means to pick up some card advantage when we're out here trying to play cards like Lead and Follow to get the additional Flawless Duet units. Okay, and again, another easy pack. I've got the Inspired Mentor with the Greenglade Duo. Again, this Discipline card pool has lost Young Witch, but it does still stay pretty similar compared to how it looked before the 2.11 patch. Okay, all right. Life is easy sometimes, right? We got a Greenglade Duo with the Lead and Follow. I am kind of interested in the Kinku Wayfinder. These can play pretty fantastically with the duos and the sparring students, but it's not something I'm going to go out of my way to find. Definitely not taking it over a Greenglade Duo. Okay. Then they continue to show up. We have another Greenglade Duo along with a Zinnia. Very easy take. Glad to come out here and take all of the duos. Alrighty, and so with this one, I don't like taking these Vanguard's edges if I don't have to. It's very expensive, and it's kind of one of these, kind of feels like a win more card sometimes, whereas you're already ahead on board with Greenglade Duo. It can definitely steal you a win you don't deserve, but it's a little bit expensive, especially in it being Irelia's flip card. And so happy enough to pick up the Riven Dancer with the Defiant Dance down here. Just a couple of Blade Dance cards to help ramp up our duos. Beautiful, beautiful. Another young witch along with the twin disciples. I would love to pick up some one drops here, but you know, we're kind of at the fate of the draft. I feel like we've passed on maybe like one or two inspired mentors, 0 blade scouts. We just haven't been seeing a huge collection of one cost units. But you know, here's the one cost unit we're looking for. We can find the sparring student. Recall is a pretty garbage spell. But as far as these cards are concerned, I don't want multiple Defiant Dances, so I'm okay to let this go. Riven Dancer is something we're kind of looking for, but it's not something I feel like we need to go super out of our way to find, and then we're not going to have combos with Flower Child. So the Sparring Student is okay here, even though the Recall is a pretty abysmally bad card. All right, life continues. We got another Greenglade Duo along with the Blade Dance. It looks pretty good. How many Zinnias do we actually want, right? We've got 2 already. I really just don't want to be picking any more of these, and so I'm going to come over and take the Ribbon Dancer with the Defiant Dance, just to kind of fill out our curve and not be stuck with those with multiple copies of Zinnia. And last but not least, here we have a sparring student, right on theme with what we're trying to do. Is pretty straightforward what we've had going on here. All right. A real decision. Do we want to go out of our way to pick up the sparring student at the cost of an extremely good spell, or do we want to pick up trade away the retreat for the Usari? And I think I'm good to get rid of the retreat. I'm not a huge fan of this style of spell in this deck. Lead and follows are okay. Retreats are pretty meh. And I do like Usari as our closer. Just a very good late game unit. Tends to close out the game because our opponents have a lot of trouble blocking them. So, you know, as it stands, we do have to go and turn something premium. Not real confident that we're going to have any commons left over here. Just in Ionia, I think all of these are passables, as least as the units go. And man, I miss Coastal Defender. I think he's probably a little ridiculous for Expedition, so I think I'm kind of glad that he doesn't show up, but I'm surprised that he hasn't made his way out here. But as far as these cards go, I know we have a Twin Disciplines. I don't think we picked up a Will of Ionia. We have a Recall, but I'm going to try and trade that away. So let's come out here and boost up our Twin Disciplines and see if we're ready to take this one down. All right, off we go. Not that bad. I mean, you have any deck? I don't remember what our Greenglade Duo count was, but it was like 5. And so anytime you have like 5 Greenglade Duos, you have a real competitive deck. But I was hoping to kind of like a little bit more see how we can take advantage of this Irelia, but I think it's realistically, as far as Irelia is concerned, she's just going to be a 3-attack quick attacker, and maybe like one game throughout the trial we'll get to flip her, or maybe we'll have a game to where we go to like turn 9 and we weren't able to get a Zinnia down, and she'll flip in that manner. But not expecting too much as far as flip combats go with Irelia. And then down here, you may not have noticed with Karma, she's back to 5 mana instead of 6. She did catch an upgrade in the 2.11 patch. Doesn't make me want to play Karma anymore, but she is certainly better than she was previously.
I don't want to meet whatever woke you up.
Get our duo going. The Chronomancer does a pretty decent job of shutting down our board, but I think we're willing to get a Ribbon Dancer going here, since that'll make our sparring student a 3/3 that can now tango with the Chronomancer.
You're making that.
Gotta predict, kind of sucks.
I am worried about portals, paradoxes,
Okay.
time skips, the void.
Uh-oh. Don't approve of this kind of thing. That's extremely bad for us. You don't want to be falling behind in the race like this. That's how you can catch right back up. I don't think we would be lethal next turn. We can play 2 blades, replay a unit for 3, so we'd probably be kind of stuck at 10. But we're definitely going to be bringing some thunder with these double duos. And then I think at least here we're looking to lead and follow the Ribbon Dancer, get the double duo going, and then on our next turn we can just play Karma or something. We'll have to be like throwing away our sparring student and throwing away our ribbon dancer on his next turn just to not die, but hopefully this will be okay. What happens? Do we want to just swap this and then save the Twin Disciplines as a means to protect a Greenglade Duo or to spike in some additional damage? Is like looking at this next turn, we're going to be looking at 5, 9, 11, pretty close to lethal. But if we do this, we're just not going to have blockers, which is kind of unfortunate. So we have to go about it this way, though. Oh no! Oh, that didn't work out how I wanted to at all. We just protected our sparring student. I thought that the recall was going to follow our unit, and then I was expecting the Noxus Blast to stay where it was. So that was a little sloppy. Not real stoked about our board position now, but maybe we can still make the best of this. We have a block onto the Grenadier, so we can get there. Okay, so let's see how close we can get. We have to play Karma now just because she's so expensive. But, I mean, next turn we're looking at 2 damage from the Witch. That would be a total... Oh. Okay. Okay, well, that's what we get. That game was a little sloppy.
We have learned as much as we have suffered.
Let's see, there's at least here's an upgrade here. Trade away this recall for our 6th Greenglade Duo. So I think we'll be at least okay in that sense. If we haven't messed up that that Noxus Blast turn, I think we might have been okay. We would have had it. Well, we would have had the same amount of blockers. We're still being a little greedy with that no Greenglade Duo block, but he may have thrown a unit in front of a sparring student if we added a couple more points of damage. What do we got here? Yeah, was this Tarek? Is that what that champion is? I'm not used to the pool party skin. Pool party Tarek. Okay, okay. So here we'll just hang on to the duo and look for more duos and look for our sparring students. Alrighty. Looking good. Katarina and Tarek. I haven't invested in the pool party skins or anything. I always do dig the pool party setup. I think that's one of the neater things that they do. Remember those back from the League of Legends days, but I haven't quite jumped in on the champion skins. I've been sticking to turning things prismatic as my kind of go-to. Then I think we're probably just going to have to try and continue to race here. I don't really want to be throwing Greenglade Duos in front of these things. I think we should be okay just to jump out ahead of them here. We can give this Greenglade Duo bonus health if he wants to come in on an attack. So I think we're probably going to have to block a bit of this. Definitely able to like make this one. Like this is 100% happening. But how do we feel about taking the rest of this damage? Probably shut down a piece of this. What are we going to fall to? 8? It's probably just a necessity. If he has like a Tarek here, then we're really going to be struggling. But you know, if we can get some damage in with Irelia and then get a block out of her next turn, then I think that's fairly okay. Cool, that was a pretty unaggressive play from him. So the duet, not super good here. I would see an argument for wanting to bank onto that spell mana, just in the sense that we can, you know, get a Defiant Dance or something going a turn from now. But I think we really need to be picking up this damage where we can. Okay, perfect, perfect. So we can stop the bleeding here with the Irelia. It's extremely good. Again, I'm not expecting her to flip. I'd just really be happy if we can get a 2-for-1 out of her, which she's pulled off. May even stop him from attacking with this style of board.
Calm mind and open heart greet the night.
Interesting. I think probably just want to be adding Karma here. He's tapped out, and Karma is strong enough to shut down all of his attackers. That's abysmal. Was not counting on the Charger to show up, but if that's his only attacker, I'm completely fine with it. Interesting. You're never a fan of Steel Tempest, but that can be a pretty big pickup here. Is this going to get us? Cosmic Inspiration? Okay, I think we can beat that. Where are we at? We've got the Duet. That's a 4 damage. And then we can get another 4 damage out of Lead and Follow. I think we've got this one. Right, we're up to 9. The Lead and Follow is going... The Flawless Duet Lead and Follow is going to give us +4 attack. Should close this one down. Alrighty, there we have it. A fun and interactive game full of Greenglade Duos. Alright.
Invaders leave this place and never return.
Okay, and so not a bad set. I don't think we need to really just like chase after Irelias. I would probably rather just have Zeds. I think he's just a little bit stronger here. It's like as we play games like that one, what do we like really expect out of this Irelia? She's just so much slower than him. I mean, I guess her blade dances did just win us that game. Her flip is okay. Again, Vanguard's Edge, we talked about it in the draft, but it's okay-ish. It's a ton of damage through a Greenglade Duo. Maybe we do just try to stack here. This is one of these awkward spots to where if they'd shown us like a Yasuo, this would be a really easy pass, but we have to decide if we want to, pick the high raw power with Zed or to get a little bit more synergy as far as Irelia is concerned. And maybe we should just stick to the Irelia here since we have the 6 Greenglade Duos. I think the kind of like point of contention is like if we have these turns like in that previous game to where we have 2 Greenglade Duos, then Irelia is probably going to be better. But in these games to where we only have 1, then Zed is going to be much better. Zed is also a much stronger attack on the 3rd turn, where Irelia is arguably stronger on, say, like turn 5 or turn 7. Real close. It's also got a Homecoming in here, which we do need a bit of interaction. Only have the 1 Will of Ionia, 2 Defiant Dances. Not upset about going to a 4th bounce spell. These Zed cards are pretty bad, and the Protector and the Greenglade Elder. Okay, we'll stick to Irelia. Okay, did want to give Irelia a try as well. That game was how I expect most of these games to go, and it feels like her flipping is never going to be realistic. So much Swain today. What is the deal with this? Everyone's playing Swain. But this is a pretty straightforward keep. I think I'm kind of tempted to actually hang on to Defiant Dance if we're, say, on turn 4 and able to just bounce their 3-drop, we might be able to have something work with that. Or we can bank up a mana along the way. With the Sparring Student, we could get something going that way. But maybe this should have been a mulligan, but if we get to make a tempo play with this, it's so huge. And then, especially with this hand already being stacked with the Sparring Student and the Duos, we're definitely going to get, like a bounce plus 3 damage or something out of this. Okay, and then I think the kind of awkward here. The thing I would like to do is both play Irelia and Defiant Dance next turn. And so if we want to do that, we can't add Sparring Student. But I think I'm pretty on board with this. I mean, like, look what a blowout this is if he... okay, he has a unit now, so do we want to change our tune? It's still slightly awkward with the Sparring Student plan in that they can't actually get up to 3 attack next turn unless we add some more cards. So maybe this is okay. Don't really want to be returning returning Zillions to his hand. So maybe we do just play 2 units here so that we get the 3/3 sparring student, and then we can maybe make a syncopate play out of this as well.
I must become the leader they need.
Can't imagine people are going to be playing around syncopation here. So I think this might just be a straight like 2-for-1 out of this. Kill 2 of his units and have good blocks across the board. Where's she at? The big up to 3 attacks, but I mean she'll go up to 7 this turn. That's pretty big, and then we can line up a Vanguard's Edge on the next attack, which should be pretty huge. But right, we come in with everything. He's gonna do something where he puts like Zillion in front of Irelia, and then like a 3/1. He just doesn't have good blocks anywhere else. But I think we can make something out of this. This board about to get boomed. Okay. Can still, there's the -2 attack card that he could be playing here, but I think this is just huge now. That was a very big turn. Okay. Not bad. Wasn't expecting Ravenous Flock, but that was pretty good. But I think we're still pretty far ahead on board here, especially if we're looking to, say, just play Field Musicians this turn, bank the 1 mana, and then next turn get a Vanguard's Edge going on the Greenglade Duo. It gets us pretty close to flipping. It's a +4 to take her up to 11, so we could flip an Irelia like that next turn.
Let them come.
How much mana does this give us? Refill our spell mana so we'd only go up to 3? Okay. Good stuff.
Our home, our ancestors are safe once more.
Got here. Trading out Karma for Lulu does feel like an upgrade. Just having the cheaper champion seems much better. I kind of like hanging on to some amount of lead and follows, and then never want a monastery. And so I do concede that we want to pick up as many sparring students as we can, but like we're never going to get another chance to trade away this Karma. And I think these games have pretty well showcased why I'm not a huge fan of Xenia. Right? Have we even gotten to 8 mana in any of these games? That game ended on like turn 6 or turn 5. Just so quick with these Greenglade duos at ending the game that very rare for us to be able to play that. But I mean, it's nice to have some kind of top end if you're playing against Kindred or something and needing a bit of a bit of a closer. Okay. All right, we just got a full mulligan this one. I don't want to keep a hand that doesn't have any Greenglade duos in it. I know we had a 1-drop in there that would have been, kind of a reasonable keep, but I'm just going to hard mulligan and look for the duo. Didn't find any, but I mean, we have 6 copies of it, so it shouldn't be super hard to find. There she is. I don't think we actually want to play her here, though. I'm kind of like interested in this, just like banking this 2 mana. And then being able to protect our Irelia and our Greenglade duo from the likes of Mystic Shots, which should be pretty common coming out of a Piltover deck. Can't imagine he plans on attacking into our Mentor, so this should be fine. This also lines us up to both Irelia and Blade Dance next turn. Okay. Good stuff.
Every blade, every beat in its place.
Odd seeing him not play any cards as we just spew onto the board here. I have to imagine he wants to play something. 7 mana play would he have here? Does he want to play like a True Shot Barrage or something? Like, we're not playing around True Shot Barrage. So weird, he's not adding anything. We rather it's kind of the same story we had before. Would we rather Twin Disciplines or Syncopate out of this? I think it's probably okay to just Syncopate and save the Twin Disciplines. Valiant effort, inspired mentor. You protected the duo to the best of your abilities. So the unfortunate thing with this is it kind of like, I feel like we kind of have to attack with the sparring student. I know we're just going to trade it away with this thing, but being able to chunk in all of this damage seems pretty important. It does feel like he's just going to have another Mystic Shot, though. But it's so weird that he's not spending his mana. Okay. We can protect through this. This is still a pretty scary unit with his 1 damage ability, but I mean, I have to assume that his line is to just attack with this and expect Greenglade Duo to die, and then we can Twin Disciplines through it. Protect with Conspirator as well. How many? Oh no, this is gonna be bad. That's pretty bad. Okay. It's like, how many attacks can we get next turn is basically what this is going to come down to. Don't think we can get a kill with this Irelia. We could look to return her to our hand to prevent a point of damage. It kind of feels like we need this Conspirator to return our Blade Dances. Who knows? Oh knows, this one's done. Alright. Let's see if we can't get ourselves out of this one. The Greenglade Duo. Not expecting too much out of this, but may be able to force a block out of the posse. That one's done. That's historically a pretty horrible matchup. We're really looking to be in these games to where our opponents just can't interact with our Greenglade Duos. And so if, when we're playing against these decks that have burn spells and other elusives in them, then we're typically in a pretty bad spot. And so it's like we don't want to be playing against decks with like Mystic Shots and Static Shocks and Gotchas and all that, since they can interact with our duos. And we don't really want to be playing against kind of like the specific Shadow Isles decks that have like Vile Feasts and Unspeakable Horrors and such in it. And then we're really looking to be out here against like, some kind of like Lucian deck that just it's just trying to race, or against like a Shurima deck to where their only interaction against elusives is like siphoning strikes or the like of that. And so let's see if we can't find some better matchups here, because that was not a good one in that previous game. But not a bad start. Mentor Duo and Irelia. I think we probably just want to boost our Greenglade Duo here. I will give him a trade if that's what he wants to come down and try to get. I do still like to come in here and take away their ability to get the Blighted Caretakers going. And so getting the kill there is pretty nice, especially since our ground units probably aren't going to be doing any real damage this game. So just go ahead and spend some value when we can. A bit unfortunate. Not a lot we can actually do about this. We have to accept he's going to kill our duo. Okay. then I'm just going to go ahead and send in the Irelia before he gets a chance to play another card. And then we can add field musicians after the fact to try to get this duet going. But are we going to get reposted? I don't want to I really don't want to have to Will of Ionia here, but I don't think we have any other choices. I think I'm fine to give him another dragon. Just get this thing off the board. So this again, what part of the reason we're happy to get rid of that that blighted caretaker is for things like this, right? If he wants to add a say if he wants to add something like a blighted caretaker here, he has to play a unit and the caretaker. Then really unfortunate that he's had all the tools to come in here and interact with our units. Yeah, we're just most definitely looking to play against decks that can't interact with what we're doing, and pretty wild to come across a deck like this that's been able to do it so well. But we aren't completely out of it. I wish he was a little bit lower, but what it is. Still good. We kind of merged over into an elusive draw. We got a bit of stuff going on here. Like, I thought the dragons might be okay if they're just going to be, yeah, like, Envious Vox is, like, exactly the kind of card that we want to be playing against. So, let's see what we can do here. So, he shouldn't have any cards here. Nothing is coming to mind that would matter as the means to deal 1 point of damage, but let's at least spread the damage out just in case there was something slipping my mind. The big worry here is that he's going to have a sharp sight. We don't have any real way to deal with that, but this could be okay though. I mean, we got the Zinnia. That's good for 6 elusive next turn. So we have a bit of protection in the Twin Disciplines as well. We're just taking this. As long as he doesn't have single combats, everything is okay here. Never blocking. 0% chance any blocks are happening if this isn't presenting a lethal. Getting us to 7 is nowhere near. He can't even atrocity kill us with this board. Okay. This should be pretty close to lethal. Can hit like an Empyrean off of this Envious Vox hit, but I don't think this is something we have to worry about too frequently. The 2 weakest enemies. Looks like it leaves us with all of our elusives down here on the end, so okay with that. Still have the Twin Disciplines if he's going to try to play a damaged-based removal spell. Or if we need to just give something +3 attack, we have that option as well. Good deal, good deal. Phew, that one had me worried. Those Dragon Guard Lieutenants were pretty scary. But that's what we're... Minus the Dragon Guard Lieutenants, that's what we're kind of looking for, is these decks that are just tapping out to add a bunch of dudes to the board. But here we've got our 3rd Irelia and our 7th Greenglade Duo, and so that's not a bad pickup whatsoever. Right, round 4 fight. Get it going. So what are we up to now? Do we have 8 Greenglade Duos? Is that what we've pieced together here? I'm real interested the next time we're able to draft Spellslinger's Lee Sin. Like, I've had some of these kind of like bonkers Claws of the Dragon stack before. I think the most I've ever gotten is 6, and the most I put on the board in the same turn was 4. Might have just been 3. I thought I maybe got 4 into play one turn, and one. Oh, we only have 6 duos. But or is it 7 because we have 1 in our hand? Anyways, if you haven't checked out the the new card pool for Spellslinger's Lee Sin only has 4 commons in it, one of which is Claws of the Dragon, one of which is Sonic Wave. And so I have to imagine that we'll be able to piece together some pretty nutsos Lee Sin decks, and I'm looking pretty forward to getting a video out for that as ASAP, as soon as possible. So we'll see how that shapes up, but we're not quite there with this. We only have 7 Greenglade Duos in this deck, so it's a little on the weak side, I guess. But anyways, back to the game. It looks like kind of a standard Slayer style deck here with Kindred Nasus. He probably started Kindred Denekton and picked up a Nasus along the way or something. Odd seeing all of these Jagged Butchers come out, though. I don't know how he's picking up Bilgewater, or how the Bilgewater would be even offered up with these champions. I guess it could have been the new pool with Renekton and Misfortune. That would kind of make some sense. But nonetheless, this is going okay. He's not going to have good blocks this turn unless he has a the -2 attack from Sherma, and then we can just like Will of Ionia or something next turn if we want. We're going to have this like these big tempo plays starting after this turn between the Will and the Defiant Dance. That I think this will turn out pretty reasonably well. So I'm just going to go for the Will of Ionia here. He's tapped out, so whatever unit he picks up with Irelia is just going to get sent back to his hand. That's a good one for us since the Merciless Hunter doesn't get good blocks on Irelia. So pretty happy to see that one come out. And this is reasonable in and of itself. We can Flawless Duet here, and then if he wants to come down and play the Sandcrafter again, then we have the Defiant Dance to return that to hand. And so should be a big old chunk of damage coming through this turn. And I don't think we're about to be any kind of lethal, but our next attack is looking really strong. Love to see him tap out for an irrelevant unit here. Yeah, cool. So I mean, he's going to get the a good block on our single Blade Dance, but we're punching through a ton of damage here, and he probably just has to block Irelia with the Hunter when she comes in. Oop. Up to 8. Just nowhere near getting flipped. It's kind of unfortunate as far as she's concerned, but this looks like it's shaping up pretty well. We can like just protect Irelia this turn and then go for the Elusives plan next turn. Might be enough to close it out. Zinnia should be enough to close this out 2 turns from now as well. So I'm gonna Homecoming the Sandcrafter, but I would ideally just be returning a 2-cost unit like Young Witch here as opposed to sending our Irelia into the mix. I mean, realistically, if we wanted to, we could just like return Young Witch. Like we're doing this. Keep Irelia on the board, but then our or whatever these are called, the duet tokens aren't going to get good blocks next turn. So I think this is fine to just return Irelia and see if we can't just close this out with the Young Witch. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 1 is 7, so it'll be a little bit short, but we'll have a plenty of mana next turn. We can just get some Blade Dances going along the way. Right, if we have 4 going into Irelia, 2 going into Young Witch, we can still play all of our cards. But I would like to duet kind of sooner than later. Maybe we should have just returned the Young Witch to make sure that we can duet a little bit earlier here. Is this going to be a Spirit Fire? Why isn't he playing units? Huh. it is. We're going to get the Spirit Fire treatment here. We attack with the whole squad. We flip our Irelia. She... Oh. Okay, well, no Ether Fiending for us today, I guess. Or no Syncopating for us today, but this should be okay. This is pretty close to lethal next turn. We can just do one of these. I assume he's got... Oh, we didn't... I was thinking Irelia needed 4 quick attack here to get through this Ether Fiend, so we probably missed out on a point of damage with this, because he just kind of has to block her. Oh, no, I forget. We get the Blade Surges. We just kill him here. Doesn't matter. We'll swap Irelia for the Sparring Student, and that'll get the damage in. See ya. So cool, we did get her to flip. It was on turn 7, so not ridiculously late, right? That's a okay-ish flip, especially with all the bouncing we were doing. So with this, not making any of these, never trading out Irelia. Don't want Yone, don't want Swole Squirrel. It's probably the easiest trade we'll see today. So happy to skip over all those. Good on. The thing I ultimately want to ask myself when I see these, and I'm pretty confident that Zed is just better every time, but you know, would we have rather had Zed in that game as opposed to Irelia? Probably. I think Zed would have been stronger. And so, although on those earlier packs where we had the chance to pick up the Zed over Irelia, probably should have. But I do like to be able to come out here and just draft around these other champions that don't get all the time in the sun, especially with Irelia just getting a new nerf. But not a bad start. We didn't hit any of our 7 Greenglade Duos, but we got a Sparring Student to start the day off at least. Get that attack in, push one of these emote buttons. Probably a good time to use this Echo emote. These are some top-notch emotes, right? This was some of the best money I've spent with the 2 new Echo emotes. So I was pretty happy to come in and pick those up. So as far as this turn goes, you know, we can either play Young Witch and then see if he, you know, high rolls on this lurk, or we can Conspirator this back. I think I just want to make him high roll. Like, if at the end of the day he just trades this thing into Sparring Student, then, you know, fine. And oh my gosh, this has so much potential for brutality if he just like misses here. Like, how sick is that if he misses? This is like top notch. Top notch. Let's see how high we can roll. Right, because, I mean, even if you have, say, 10 lurks in your deck, oh, he hit. Must be nice. Must be nice. Like, if you have 10 in your deck, you're only like a 1 in 3 to hit at this point, right? So. Alright, we're still doing fine. Let's see how well the lurkers interact with with our elusives. So we could technically get an additional point out of Irelia. It just doesn't seem like he ever wants to block here, so I'm fine to just let that go. Sometimes you just hit both your lurks naturally, so that's a thing as well. Alright, I think we're looking pretty strong though now. We can play Irelia here, have Twin Disciplines back up, just in the event they have, you know, like a some kind of challenge on us, and then next turn we have Blossoming Blades. This is looking fine. More than happy to just take 9 or 10 damage, whatever this amounts to here. Third one in a row. just hey guys, I'm out here not putting any cards on top of my deck, just hitting lurks every time. Sure. What more can you say but sure? Oh, interesting pickup in the Greenglade Duo. I don't think this is more damage than just playing the Blossoming Blade. It's going to get a free block on one of the blades. It'll level up Irelia by 2 ticks. I think I just want to play this so we also have to have the blocker next turn. So this is fine. You can get the free block with the Swarm.
And hold on to mine.
We'll have a quick attacking Blossoming Blade coming in. Big old burst of damage. And if we wanted to, we could technically try and take this thing down with Twin Disciplines, but that seems a little greedy. Or if we'll get to deny a Pike. That would feel pretty good, right? Getting to deny Pike. Alright, that's unfortunate. Nothing we can do about that. But we're still looking relatively strong here. Okay. Want to bank any of this mana? How far are you? This will get her up to 10. Maybe we'll get a damage and a block in.
Fly true as one heart to another. Oh, yo, scream!
Okay. So Irelia almost certainly going to flip on our next turn. I think we should be able to punch in some kind of Irelia play. Okay. All right, then we do have to stop some of this. We're getting pretty close to dead. I mean, how do we feel about just like eliminating everything? Right, we have good blocks across this whole board. We should be able to have both Irelia and Greenglade Duo going next turn. I think that seems good. We can technically protect something with Twin Disciplines if we want. Like if we say want to Twin Disciplines our Blossoming Blade, is that who we'd want to hit? She's not going to level up or anything next turn. I don't like that.
Turn aside. Why, hello there.
Okay. Let's just add Greenglade Duo. We'll get the full bank here. If we hit another Greenglade Duo, that would be pretty nice. And then I think we can just get some Irelia plays going. Looks like we'll be like a touch short of lethal here, but got a big old bunch of damage coming out of our hand.
I dance not to forget, but to remember.
Okay. I wonder if we'll be able to get him good here with this flawless duet. We can shove a Irelia into combat with the Syncopate if we want. I assume that he's probably just going to let these two units go through. But I mean, if that takes him to 10, Greenglade Duo can be too short. Dang, it's a little bit too short with everything we're doing here. No, thank you. Let's just get your champion to nod. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know how anyone else feels about that. Alright, but he can unfortunately get a block in here. We can't actually lethal this turn. Unless he just doesn't block for some reason. Okay. Alrighty, what you got for us? Doombreaker? We'll probably have Have to twin disciplines in front of this. But go ahead and add a duo.
Take your place.
There's no burn for 3, right? If they're going to play something like double up, then we can just twin disciplines through it. Oh, what up? How bad is that? It's got something going in front of Irelia. We can just syncopate out of that. And I think we're good. Let's give up on the duos. Get Irelia back out here. I think we just have to do it this way. Maybe we should have saved a duo instead of Irelia, but... there we have it. Alright, not bad, not bad. Glad to see, glad to see we could overcome the naked lurks and still getting there in the end. It's pretty good. So let's see. I want to hang on to our syncopation. I don't want more Defiant Dances, and I don't want Vanguard's Edge. So another pretty easy set of skips. Jump on in. That was kind of rough, right? I wasn't expecting the epic fish to come out. I don't think you can ever really be like, oh man, what if the epic fish comes down? But I still think that was good to add Irelia. I mean, it's so easy for them to just have like one interactive card, or even playing Bilgewater. If he has like a Make It Rain, it can get kind of awkward. But it's like I'm not ever really expecting this gigantic epic to come down and completely cancel multiple units and be able to put blocks in front of Irelia. So slightly awkward. Still would have gotten pretty far along with just a Blade Dance, but still pretty good to deny a to come in and deny a Rek'Sai. That was pretty cool. That was the FTP bust cool play of the day. And alright, this is back to being a relatively scary matchup. I'm surprised to see 2 Renekton's because I really like Misfortune so much, but this is another deck that can directly interact with our elusives. They have all kinds of different ways to give things vulnerable. They have access to things like Make It Rain, which is quite abysmal for the likes of our Greenglade Duos, and so I'm gonna go ahead and venture a guess that this matchup is not in our favor. But yeah, we got the strength one would need to close it out. Okay, and let's continue on. If he has a Make It Rain, then this game's probably just over. But you know, I don't think we're gonna ever just not play units here. Like, even if his standard play would be like a Ruin Runner on this turn, I definitely want to get out in front of before that happens. But looks like his play might have been disconnected. So hopefully, hopefully he'll make it back before the timer runs out. Sometimes you just drop your phone in the toilet and you need a little bit more time to come back. Okay, well, this, as far as like gameplay goes with this point, I would really prefer to just not play any units this turn. Like if he picks up if we pick up an Irelia, then I'd be fine with adding Irelia, but I would rather just bank this mana, go into our next turn with a total of 7, and be able to both Greenglade Duo and Defiant Dance something, or be able to deny a Make It Rain if that's what seems like is going to be coming out. But fortunately for opponent, it seems like that phone has gone full haywire and it's just sitting in the toilet.
That's my resting face.
Not the way I was intending to get to the final battle, but sometimes sometimes you just gotta take your wins where you can get them. So, go us. Good job. Perfect play. So let's see. Let's see what shows up. As far as these go, don't want Jeweled Protector, don't want Vanguard's Edge, don't want Monastery. Very easy set of skips. It's going to be kind of tough to find actual upgrades here. I'm kind of okay with picking up Ribbon Dancers. It's a fairly like low value one though, so I think I want to hang on to our Will of Ionia. I do like these kind of tempo draws we're able to piece together with the Defiant Dances, the one Homecoming one. Will, I think that's a pretty good number, so we can skip over that one. Don't want the Shadows of the Past, don't want the Scale of the Dragon. That's a very easy skip. Don't want more Defiant Dances. I could get behind picking up a Scales of the Dragon, but like our spell count is so low at this point that I think I'm okay to actually hang on to Deny here. And then I'm good with our 4 bounce spells as well. So we'll skip on the Lead and Follow. All right, don't want Lee Sin, keeping Young Witch. Don't want Vanguard's Edge. It's another easy set of skips. And last but not least, don't want any of these. Again, don't want the Protector. I think the Blossoming Blade's probably just better than Ribbon Dancer here, especially given that we already have 3 Ribbon Dancers. So that's not a super high value pick. And then hanging on to our Defiant Dances. Just never want Recall here. So, all right, we're ready for that final battle. Right, final battle. It's unfortunate we didn't get up to 10 Greenglade Duos, but, you know, life can be tough. But I was pretty worried about that previous match, right? I mean, Misfortune is a nightmare for Greenglade Duos. Make It Rain is a nightmare. Just having things like Exhaust in any card, just trading their 1 mana burst spell for our Greenglade Duo is pretty painful. Just this deck, it's not like super rock paper scissory, but it does really prey on the decks that can't interact with what we're doing, and those Misfortune decks are super good at interacting with what we're doing, and so it's kind of interesting, right? There's always been kind of like a strategy when you're going to any like large tournament, is to say you have a deck that's like 80-20 against the most popular deck in the field, but then maybe it's like 40-60 against everything else. And if you're willing to just see if you can't like high roll against the, and play that really good matchup many times throughout the day. And then, because I mean, in any tournament, there's just so much variance in any given game and any given set of matchups. I mean, it's not completely unheard of for you to be playing like day 1 of a Grand Prix and play the same deck 7 times. And so it is a strategy. I never chased after it too frequently back when I was in the old let's grind some Magic the Gathering days, but it was certainly something you could do. And I'm just going to go ahead and cancel this one. See if we can dodge the Poro bot and play against a real opponent. Can't remember the last time there was like the Jeskai deck with the the enchantment. I can't remember what it was called. The thing that like it cost a white, a red, and a blue, and you played a unit and like gave your units +1/+1, and then it like untapped a guy or something. I can't remember what that was called. A lot of Monastery Mentor style decks was the last time I think grinded constructed. It was good for a handful of weeks, and then it dropped off really quickly. But it was like that was the deck that I'd played 1,000 matches of, and I'd rather take a deck that's probably not good that I've played 1,000 matches of than a deck that I've played 100 matches of and not super familiar with. So had to try to do some high rolling. I'm pretty sure I cashed a Star City Open with that thing, and then it got real bad. But it was one of my favorite decks. Right. No opponents to be found anywhere. Everyone's just dodging the Irelia. But yeah, this is kind of like what I expected to her. She's roaming around in like tier 3 of the tier list, and the way I kind of look at tier 3 is, if things go well, then you'll probably find yourself in the final battle. If things go kind of average, you'll probably find yourself with about 4 or 5 wins, and then if things go poorly, you'll probably be down in like the 0 to 3 range. And so, I mean, how would this deck look if we only managed to find say like 4 Greenglade Duos or only 3 Greenglade Duos. Not spectacular. And so that's kind of like how I look at this Irelia. Was we picked up we picked up 7, which is pretty high powered. But here, I do worry a bit. We're playing against Piltover, which we've mentioned has the potential to be pretty scary for our duos. The time bombs, of course, pretty scary for our duos, and so gotta go into this one with tempered expectations. Okay. So we don't have the means to be like ultra greedy here in the early game, and so like we don't have one of these draws where we can just like bank up and then have a Twin Disciplines on the ready. So interesting in picking up the sparring students. That's going to be something we'll try to run out next turn. I just want to go ahead and get Irelia going now, since she'll be ready to slam this big Greenglade Duo win. It's like I'm half tempted to just pass here. This feels like it's going to be a Mystic Shot. I don't know why else he wouldn't just play something here. Okay. Not ideal, but not the end of the world. Really wanted the Flawless Duet for our next attack. Kind of the idea with this play and not playing the Duet was next turn for our 4 mana, we could play both Sparring Students in the Duo, and then on our follow-up turn, we could start playing the Duets to give all of our units the big boost. So it's not the end of the world losing our unit there, but certainly not ideal. Echo? He's fairly ignorable. We're just going to be on the Duo plan from this point forward. This is okay. I'm not planning on getting too much out of the Field Musicians, and so if we can bait out a removal spell onto the Musicians as opposed to just losing it to, losing a Greenglade Duo, I'd be a-okay with that. Yep. Okay. Not gonna have great attacks this turn, so I think we'll just drop the Young Witch now, get our attack in, and then play a Sparring Student at the end of the turn to make sure we get the card draw and the mana off of our Field Musicians. Did you hit that Challenger? That's not good. Did the mathematics on that one. That is not good. need a bounce spell to shut him down, or losing our Duo here is going to be a disaster. Nice. Nice pickup in the Homecoming. That was the actual best card we could draw here. Take 6. I don't think I'm like quite ready to throw away the Field Musicians. We have a pretty decent turn for this next turn, so I think I'm okay with that. 9 hit makes sense.
What's today's lesson? Never had luck, never needed.
Easy to say with that Z drive of yours.
Check out these moves.
Right. Might have been a little greedy adding this extra Sparring Student here to the end, but I think this is okay. The big chunk in with the Duo while we can. We just can't get ourselves set up to make some kind of like Xenia play for our next turn, so I think this is fine. We can add Lulu here if we want. How do we see this happening? So say like on our next turn, like I'm looking now, say like we attack with Lulu, we can get in for an additional 3 damage with Young Witch, so this is going to take like 4. Gets him real close. It gets him to a Xenia lethal. How far away are we now? Now that we can get in for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Or hang on, we got 4 from Lulu, right? If we boost the Young Witch, that's 4, 9, 10. Okay, that should be lethal. As long as he doesn't have a card. It does get us out of the deny range here, but otherwise, we've got exactly 12. Alrighty. Let's see if that does it. And then if not, we might be able to get something going with Xenia next turn. Haven't quite pieced together if he has lethal here. But... Oh, he's got a card? Okay. Well, we can beat that, right? If he had a removal spell for our duo, that would have been a disaster. But we might, if he doesn't open on us, we might get him with Xenia. And we can definitely come in and block a lot of this stuff. He didn't get a super strong block here on our Lulu because he's going to actually lose his unit here. Right, she's not blocking with the clock link, but whatevs. Alright, so I think we're good. Pretty safe. This board isn't lethal. Xenia. I think that'll do it. It's good to see you come in and make some actions, Xenia, since we talked a lot of trash about you in this trial. But I mean, all things considered, she costs 8 mana, and how many games do we get to 8 mana? It's like almost every game our critical turn was turn 7. So it's a struggle, and drawing 2 of those is a real downside because you just have such a hard time actually getting them on the board. So excellent though. Yeah, I mean we got a win. Nice little 7 winner. And I think, you know, as far as Irelia goes, just chasing after that old strategy of pairing up Irelia with Azir and getting all of the Sand Soldiers going, I just don't think it's really worthwhile to pursue and draft Irelia. I guess I should kind of preface that with, because kind of the idea that I always have with Irelia nowadays is that you want to be a Greenglade Duo deck, and then whether or not you land in a Greenglade Duo deck or you land in just a general Elusives deck, the Greenglade Duo deck being kind of like the sparring student Blade Dance kind of thing, and then the Elusives deck being you know, just more with like Young Witches and Greenglade Duos, Navori Blade Scouts, Navori Conspirators, and trying to do the kind of like slower go wide race as opposed to this go tall with Greenglade Duos race. But either way, I think either of those is a perfectly fine strategy to pursue with Irelia. I think that probably, you know, if you do get her paired up with Sharma, you just want to be an Azir every time, and so she doesn't get a whole lot of attention there, but is a pretty reasonable build around here. But as again, like as we had on Champion Pick 2, or I guess Champion Pick 3 and 4, we had the opportunities to pick up Zed, and we just took Irelia. Part of that was just to try her out now that she's been nerfed up to needing to see 14 attacks, I believe. I think this 12 attack is that still where it is? I can't tell if this has been updated or not, but ever since she got nerfed as to whether or not that was, you know, going to make her kind of irrelevant or not. But we did everything with this, right? Having a 3-attack quick attacker on 3 is good. Having these draws to where you play nothing on 1, Duo on 2, Irelia on 3, along with the Blade Dance on 3. That's completely fine. And then we did manage to flip her either 2 or 3 games out of the trials. And so that was looking at, we went 7-2 here. That was about a third of the games we were able to flip Irelia. And so that's not so bad in that sense. And so I don't really want to give like a big in-depth discussion on the ways to get your Irelia decks together. I think we've kind of touched on the big highlights, and point 1, regardless of what deck you want to end up in, whether it's the tokens or the elusives, your big build around is Greenglade Duo. That's the card you're going to go out of your way and take it with anything. Doesn't matter what cards show up with Greenglade Duo, you're taking it over actual everything. Doesn't matter if she's paired up with like Recall or completely unplayable cards, you're taking Greenglade Duo. And then, kind of point two is if you're in tokens, your next card to look for is sparring students. If you're in elusives, your other cards to look for are elusives. Particularly, Navori Blade Scout, Navori Conspirator, you're not super amped up about Shadow Assassins or the likes of like the Lifesteal guy, but uh, the same thing applies where the duo is still the big one. And then after that, you don't really want too many expensive spells. And so, as far as the top end for me is concerned, Blossoming and Blade is what you want for tokens. Usari is what you want for elusives. Usari is interchangeable between both of the card pools because the description I usually give is like, say we want to play Yone. Yone is like fairly easily shut down because your opponent's just going to have so many ground-based units because they can't interact with your elusives. And so Yone usually comes down, stuns 2 units that wouldn't be blocking anyways, and then just gets blocked by something else. Usari always gets himself around that. And so the pinnacle of good late game is Windfarer Hatchling, but if you don't get to pick and choose between like Windfarer Hatchling and Xenia and the Empyrean, then Usari is the unit that I typically want. And I typically just like him more than the other ones because he's so much cheaper. But then otherwise, you want to pick up some bounce spells. Will of Ionia now costs 4 mana instead of 5, which is a big boost compared to where it used to be. Defiant Dance is the worst of the bunch in my opinion, but still good. It only plays particularly well against curve decks. It doesn't play well against go wide decks, and then Homecoming's still pretty decent. And so, pretty straightforward, I think. I don't think this is a real challenging card pool to draft. I think we've kind of got it pretty well sorted out. But that is going to do it for us today. I'm not sure if there's any rewards. I know the reward road started itself back up, so it looks like we've got a click or two there. Up these golden chests. Look at this. They're all new cards. Feels good. Get to save those wild cards again once it goes time to go and turn something premium. But that is going to do it for us today. And so, I hope you all learned how to be a little bit more elusive in your battles. You maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.